हमें हाँ चले लेके हमें ब्रो वेलकम वेलकम टू काफी सेक्सी आज वी वेलकम आज आ जाओ हम रेडी है हम शुरू कर रहे हैं आप किधर हो धंधा धंधा सीखेंगे धंधा आज वेलकम आज आ जाओ हम रेडी है हम शुरू कर रहे हैं आप किधर हो धंधा धंधा सीखेंगे धंधा आज वेलकम आज आ जाओ हम रेडी है हम शुरू कर रहे हैं आप किधर हो धंधा धंधा सीखेंगे धंधा आज वेल वो रिपीट में सुन लिया तुमने Bro, have you seen that? I got hooked on that song, bro. Anyway, if you come in, you will see this part. So I'm just gonna start, and then we'll figure it out as we go. Right, first thing, like the very basics of why am I here, let's get to it first and then we'll go to everything else. I am going to spend the next few days or however long it takes in learning, educating myself. I have never actually read a book to save my life. Whatever I've learned, जो भी मैं सीखा है अभी तक वो बस मैं instinctively I would do. I never had guidance. I never had anyone telling me how to do a lot of those things, and a lot of what I made mistakes could have been solved if I knew some of these things. But there's also the other side where unless I experience it, I wouldn't really take that advice seriously, right? So there was always this conflict कि भाई मेरे को नहीं करने का है, क्यों सीखने का है, कौन बिल गेट्स सीख के किया था क्या? And then I realized I'm sure there was some sort of a mentor, some sort of guidance, some sort of thing that allowed these people to speed track what they know, right? Years and decades of experience. So here's the thing. I am spending every day, number one, learning. So I am actually genuinely learning myself about the basics of entrepreneurship, startups, things like that. Add that to the experience that I have with building जो भी अभी तक मैंने बनाया है. For people who don't know what I've done, let me give you a small brief, right? I started a company called Flip Tech Innovations. Basically, it कचरे का डब्बा डालता है. हम लोग, these are smart dustbins. I can show you guys. Wait, hold on. It becomes easier. So, oh my god, the amount of sensitive information that I am not supposed to be sharing, that I almost end up sharing with you guys. Let me show you a video. All right. That is my dustbin, and these are smart bins. These have Wi-Fi, charging ports, data analytical sensors. We install it free of cost, we maintain it free of cost, and we generate revenue through advertising. We are the only company currently in India that build, manufacture and install completely self-sustaining, completely reliable smart bins. Now here's the thing, I'm not showing this to you because it makes any difference. I never need to do this. I already have advertising boards, right? I don't need this. But I want you guys to understand where I come from. I have built, innovated, installed, operated a project, a hardware project that nobody in India has ever seen. We are also we have multiple products. We've designed a bunch of shit that I can talk to you guys about. We have other projects that we are coming out with. This is our smart toilets that we are basically building, which has auto lock features, shit like that. So this is my government sector, right? In terms of what I do and my credibility, falana. Private sector mein I also I also consult. So I work with a lot of companies who are trying to scale, who are trying to build. And this basic level pay, there's a lot of things that people are not aware of. And I am currently in business with at least 10 companies, right? And all sorts of companies. I work with clinics, I work with hospitals, I work with infrastructure companies, I work with startups, I work with jo bolo main kaam kar chuka hai, right? And especially with shit that doesn't really go through, we figured out how to fucking put that through. I have raised $1 million when I was 22. That's 7 crores. I have gone on to raise a lot more capital, and throughout this entire process I learned a lot. And the only reason I'm telling you this is because even now I still feel I know not a lot. Like, there's very little that I know, but what I know I would like to teach, and what I don't know I would like to learn, right? And in this process of teaching and learning, I hope it helps my company and it helps you build your companies, whatever the fuck you guys want to build. मेरा lighter किधर है भाई? Oh yeah, it's there, right? And what I need from you is very simple. If you have an idea, if you have a product, if you have a service in mind that you would like to build, I would like to help you build it. We are going to keep it clean, we are going to keep it real. There's not a lot of you, so I don't have to worry about a lot of people that I have to interact with. It's probably a few, just like 5, 6, 7, 8 of you who I will be talking to on a day-to-day basis. I tried doing offline consulting where I charged people, but then it wasn't as redeeming as I thought it would be. So basically I built a tool, and that tool will allow you guys to follow these things step by step. And in that tool we're going to go more in depth and in detail of everything, right? But as of the rest of it, you're going to be learning it here, and we are going to go from the fucking basics. Pehla cheez, the 2 people here, kya bole OP in the chat so I know who it is. Thank you so much for coming. You're the first 2 guys of my first ever how to business, how to dhanda, basically. And I want to know who you 2 are, because I want to remember you guys. Let's start with number 1, just the 2 of you. Flu Fish, what is up? What is up? OG OP. The first question that most people should ask themselves when they get into, when they're like, oh, I want to do a startup, is why do you want to do a startup? Or why do you want to get into entrepreneurship? Or why do you want to do dhanda? And it's very important to ask this question for 2 reasons. Number 1, are you doing this because we have 3 people? Kafi excite. You guys can talk to me, bro. You don't have to just like whatever. But what I was saying is, fuck, I forgot what I was saying. It's important for 2 reasons. Number 1, this is the real world. तुम college में नहीं है अभी. You have responsibilities. You are getting somewhere and you're spending your time and energy. And if you're not doing this for the right reason, there's a very high probability you will fail. And when you fail, for you to keep going at it, your why has to be important. And if you do not understand the why of what you do, you will just end up wasting a lot of your time, your resources, other people's time, other people's resources. So first of all, ask yourself if you actually want to do dhanda, if you want to basically build a startup, right? And I'll tell you something interesting, okay? And as I was reading about it, it also came across from me. Let's kind of define what business basically is. First and foremost, right? What is business, startup, enterprise, whatever you want to call it, right? What are these things, right? And it is very, very simply put, it is, no, fuck. I'm gonna fucking remember. I wrote this shit down. I have prepared this shit, bro. Oh yeah. Oh fuck. This is gonna be weird. Like, this is gonna be like old school teaching, bro. This is gonna be fucking old school teaching, right? Oh yeah, I knew that was what it was. Okay, it is basically opportunity plus organization, and this is very critical. Okay, a lot of people get into startups or get into business because, number one, it's cool. It wasn't as cool as it is right now. It is actually very cool to do a startup right now. It's very cool to build a business right now, right? And you kind of have to ask yourself, why are you doing this? If you are somebody who is sitting around and be like, oh, let's figure out what business I want to do, probably a bad idea. And I'll tell you why, right? A lot of times, if you're not solving a problem, you will fail. Most businesses, I want you to understand this very simply. A business is basically solving problems. Entrepreneur is basically somebody who chooses a problem, solves a problem. When he say chooses a problem, I mean he looks at a problem as an opportunity. That's where opportunity comes into play, right? He basically has any kind of weird, most entrepreneurs that you look across wherever the spectrum of time is, they basically saw a problem, and that problem generally affected them or their families, and they used organization. This is where the second part comes in. They use systems and people in order to solve that problem. This is basically startup enterprise, and in a very basic level. Okay, उस बहुत गहराई में जाएंगे, but let's understand what business is, what money is, before we even start looking at, hey, this is what I want to do. First, ask yourself, are you in it for the right reason? Right? Are you in the game because you want to do it because everybody else is doing it, or because you fucking saw Shark Tank? Right? You want to be able to do these things because it's probably something that's personally affecting you, and you are not able to find that solution somewhere, or you are able to there is a solution out there and you have an easier way to solve it or a better way to solve it, right? Let me put it another way. Let me do this. How many of y'all know, can anyone tell me what startups do? Chat. तुम है, respond करो. What is a startup? And in a very simple way, I'm going to explain to you what a startup does. It solves supply chain. Does anyone know what a supply chain is? I realize there's a fucking lag in YouTube, so I'm just going to pretend as though somebody has already told me the answer. And if you haven't, hear this. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, today, we're going to take three things. Okay? 10 years ago, you used to get food. How would you get food? 5 years ago, let's talk food. Right? 10 years ago, you wanted to get food. If you wanted to eat out, what would you do? 5 years ago, what would you do? Today, what do you do? Right? Basically, the end goal is same. Oh, you can't fucking see that. Basically, end goal is the same. End goal is, I am hungry. मेरे को खाना चाहिए. Problem is the way that khana is reaching me. A lot of times, the khana reaches me late, or a lot of times the khana reaches me cold, or it reaches me in a fuck all manner, right? Basically what ended up happening is companies figured out how to solve these problems faster or make it better. 10 years ago you were eating food, 5 years ago you are eating food, today you are eating the same food. KFC 10 साल भी था, 5 साल भी था, आज भी था. 10 साल पहले it would take you say about 45 minutes. अभी 5 साल पहले तुमको लगता था 20 मिनट, अभी 10 मिनट होगा. And somebody will figure out how to fucking pop it into your game immediately, right? The idea is there is a product somewhere, and there is a customer somewhere, and how are you getting the product to the customer? That is what broader perspective. देखो ज़्यादा मत technically आपको हाँ साथ भाई but ये तो ये करता है, हाँ गांडू मेरे को मालूम, but let's hear me out, okay? Basically solving supply chain meant that you're able to take a end goal and figure out how to get to that end goal faster, better, more efficiently. The moment you do this, you make fuck ton of money. That's basically what most startups are. Think about your top 5 startups: Ola, Uber, fucking Oyo, for Swiggy, Zomato. Name them. Name all of them. They were all, and I'm talking startups. I'm not talking about enterprise. I'm not talking about manufacturers. They're different. They build, right? Even their startups basically solve a lot of these problems. Today, startups are basically solving supply chain. How to get shit faster to you. How to make things easier. How to make the person lazy. The goal is, if you're able to make a person lazier than what he already is, you make money. Right? That is basically solving supply chain. Swiggy came in, said, I will deliver your food in 20 minutes. Big market, people were like, don't ever get into food supply. Zomato, whatever, they had a whole thing, and you shouldn't get into it because they have a huge market cap. Another company called Blinkit basically figured out how to do this in 10 minutes. And when they were able to go from, one second, I'm streaming right now. Okay. Yeah. So when companies figured out how to do it faster, they made more money. They raised more capital. So this is one form. Solving supply chain is one of the more current forms of startups, right? Keeping all of these things aside, okay? The reason why I was explaining this to you is for you to understand it's not complicated. The idea is to make things simpler. The idea is to simplify process. It's not to complicate process. Now, before you even figure out what to simplify, where to simplify, who to simplify for, and all of those things, we will go into what is let me show you everything that we will get into. But after that, I'm going to ask you a few questions and I want you guys to interact. Okay? I should prepare this shit better because like hidden hai. I'm going to beta show you some shit. And this is so cool. I'm building this shit for you guys. And it's going to be damn fun. And it's still in design, but you guys will get an idea. Right? So here you can come and you can choose which kind of company you are. You are a B2B company. You want to build a software company, a hardware company. Okay? And then here we will go into everything. So I will walk you through what a vision is, what a mission is, how to build a plan of action, how to build SOPs, how to budget, how to build brand guidelines, investor deck, target audience, accounting, sub. We'll go into intricate details of CRMs. We will go into every single thing that you can think of. Like we'll go into registrations, we'll go into government compliances, and this tool is accessible to all of y'all, where it's basically a checklist. And the eye that you're seeing, if you click on the eye, you will get a video, and in that video you will be able to like get resource material and all of these things, right? So let me tell you this. 99% of the time, 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 If you are sure you want to do a startup, I will help you get there. Okay? This is my promise to you. I will sit here I will try as hard as I can to figure out what your problems are. We will solve your startup issues. We will go through ideation. We'll go through all of those things. Fair enough. No problem. Sadh bhai, I agree. We'll make this work. But the main question is, should you? The main question is, should you get into this journey? And it sounds stupid when you ask this, but a lot of times it'll save a lot of you. Because let me explain something to you. Okay, keep all of this shit aside. Alright, let me explain something to you. Let me tell you something that nobody tells you. This shit is one of the hardest fucking games that is currently being played. There are more players, more competitors, lack of awareness, lack of systems, like you can't even imagine, man. And I'll tell you, the probability of you succeeding is so low, it's ridiculous. There's a higher chance, out of the 6 people watching this, there is a chance that all of you can fail, including myself. Then the question is, why? Why are you putting yourself through this? Why are you going through this process? What is making you? Is your reason good enough? And I want you to think about this. I don't want you to waste your time. Not your time, your people, your resources, your capital, wherever the fuck your capital is coming from. Because let me tell you something. When I sit here and I'm playing this game, it takes parts of you away. It kills parts of you that you never thought that could die. Anyone who tells you, bro, entrepreneurship, it's amazing, it's this, it's that, bro, I'm telling you, you are on a journey that you will be playing by yourself. With no one, sometimes not including your partners. With almost nobody around you who will never be able to understand why you're doing what you're doing. You might not have capital, you might not have resources, you might have nothing. Tell me one good reason. What social life? How can you afford a social life? You don't have time, bro. You don't have the bandwidth. I used to be one of those people who love talking to people, man. Today, I don't have the energy to interact with people. The bandwidth it takes to have it breaks you. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of amazing thing that comes with it. I don't want to sit and tell you everything is bad, but I want you to be aware what the fuck you're getting into. I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay? And this is very interesting because I'm reading it out as I'm saying it. I want you guys to answer. So basically, this is Howard's. You guys should probably read this. It is Entrepreneur's Toolkit by Howard Business Essentials, right? The making of an entrepreneur. And hear this out. Many books and websites provide self-scoring tests that people can use to assess their fitness for entrepreneurial life. Here are some of the usual questions. Okay. First, can you tolerate a high level of risk? पहला चीज़ ये है कि क्या तुम्हारे में risk appetite है या नहीं. Let me simply put it this way. I want you guys, 5 people listening, right? I want you guys to tell me what is the riskiest, what according to you is the riskiest thing you've done by far. You might think you have a risk appetite, but then you'll realize you've actually never risked jack shit. I have spent so much time getting ridiculed by people for trying to do the things that I do. Right? And a lot of times people will tell you, bro, what are you doing, bro? Forget about it, bro. I was like, bro, why are you trying so many things? Do you have the ability to fail and try again and try again and try again and take risks and sometimes convince other people to take risks with you? If so, can you tell me one time you have actually taken a risk? NFT. uh, you can answer it for yourself. Lost money, time, relationships, what more? Yeah. You don't have to justify it to me. You need to ask yourself. And it's very interesting because the shit that I need to articulate, it's fucking here, right? So it's just basically easier for me to communicate point by point for you guys, right? Second thing, are you an overachiever? Are you somebody in your life that you actually time and time again you overachieve? Because if you're a basic motherfucker around the people that you already are, you're gonna probably be basic. And if you're gonna be basic, you can't fucking do business. Let's be frank. Because this entire game is about doing better than everybody else in whatever the fuck space you are in. So are you an overachiever? Very interesting. Okay. Are you willing to put in 10 to 12 hours a day over an extended period of time, including weekends, to reach your goal? Oh ho 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 ho. Now this is where shit gets fun, right? Do you have the ability to play the long game? Do you have the ability to stay the fucking course when everything goes wrong? Do you have the ability to stay the course when everything is boring? Time and time again, you wake up and do the same shit again and 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 again. Can you fucking do that? Like, it's a serious question, and I want you guys to contemplate this shit as I'm fucking speaking to you. Okay? Are you a self-starter? This is one more thing. Bro, this fucking book is gold, man. You guys need to fucking take a look. But are you a self-starter? What does it mean by a self-starter, right? A self-starter is somebody who is not dependent on somebody else to be able to start something that he wants to do. If you are somebody who needs direction in order to work, then this is not a game for you. Like, there's a clear differentiation between an entrepreneur and an employee, and the differentiator is the ability to make decisions and implement decisions. Are you somebody who's waiting for somebody else to give you the tools or the direction or whatever, or are you just fucking going to start? It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how, but are you going to start? Can you start? It's very important. Would you describe yourself as a good decision maker? Are you willing to put your personal funds at risk? Do you have the commitment required to build a business in the face of long hours and modest odds of success? What modest? Next to nothing odds of success, and a very high probability you won't get paid for the next 2 years. There's another part that I'm going to get into. Right? And before I get into that, I want to talk about the things that we just spoke. This shit that we're going to do, bro, it's going to be insanely fun. Question is, are you in it? If you're in it, do you think, like, the people who believe that the things that I spoke about, it applies to them, OP in the chat for those motherfuckers. I want some fucking positive fucking affirmation with all the shit that I told you. If you believe that you are that fucking person, I want you to fucking write OP in the chat. I want to know which one of you motherfuckers am I dealing with. Choose the difficult part in terms of education. Get dragged over 3 months with relatives with their wishes. Give more than 10 hours. Yes, I've built alone. Perfect. Fucking Sajid, Sneh, Flufesh. Bro, love it. Saud. Lohit. And it's perfect, bro. Perfect. Now then my question is, how many of y'all a weird question. How many of y'all already have an idea of what you want to do, and how many of y'all are here to figure out what to want to do? Because I'll be able to help you both ways. Have you come with a prefixed business that you're already running, or an idea that you're trying to implement and you're looking for guidance, or are you coming here to figure out what is it that you want to do? I have built most engaging social media communities completely alone. Fucking kudos to you. Can you give me an example that I might know? Also, if you make claims that you can't fucking back up, it's something that you need to. I mean, I'm sure you have, but figuring it out. Perfect, bro. There's no hurry. Here's the thing. I would rather have you take your time into figuring out what is it that you want to build, and in the meantime probably work with other people in order to understand. Sometimes you need to understand your role is not to kind of know what to build, but probably support somebody who's already building. So you don't know who it is. It's probably somebody in the chat here who will probably help you out also, right? We have the idea business now, we just want to build an empire. Perfect, man. Perfect. I love it. Okay, for the people who are figuring out, don't worry. The only advice I have for you is very simple. Do not rush into it. Solve a problem that affects you truly. You don't have to solve a big problem. Solve a very small problem. Solve the problem closest to you. Try to solve a problem for somebody in your life or for you. And what I want you to I want you to do is I want you to come back here tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Little problems. Like it can be small household problems. Something that your parents are facing. Just fix those problems. If you're able to fix those problems, you have the ability to think outside the box in order to be able to fix the problems around you and for yourself. That also is a helpful characteristics or a builder for an entrepreneurship. I have a lot of problems, ideas to be worked on. So far, have worked on multiple projects. Perfect, man. All right, so we have a broader perspective, broader understanding of who you are. Let's go to the second part. Okay. Successful entrepreneurs. Very interesting. Successful entrepreneurs. They are comfortable stretching the truth, are prepared to make powerful enemies. Oh ho 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 ho. Have the patience to start small, are willing to change strategies quickly, know how to close a deal. Okay, let's go through this again. Okay. And let's go with the first one. Are comfortable stretching the rules. The first project I did, the technical startup, was a smart bin, right? The dustbins that you guys just saw. That dustbin basically technically is illegal because you're not allowed to legally install it on ground. If I was the most if it's written in red, that means that's all we have to follow. If you're one of those people, you can't work in this space. I convinced the corporation where I started working with that they need to change their laws in order to accommodate my product, right? And time again, a lot of startups do this because it's basically a lot of the startups our government doesn't really allow it because we don't have the infrastructure or we never understood what the fuck we're building, right? So a lot of it is in gray areas. Are you comfortable stretching the rules? This is very important. Are you prepared to make powerful enemies? See, we don't want to compete with the Swiggy. We don't want to compete with the Myntra. We don't want to compete with all of these people. But we will end up. The difference between college and school and life is in 11th grade, you are fighting with 11th graders. In 12th grade, you're fighting with 12th graders. In college, you're fighting with college students. But the moment you enter the market, you fight with me and Tata and Birla and Varun Maya and everyone at the same time. You can't give excuses. Like, bro, I just came in, I made a mistake. Nobody gives a fuck. The moment you enter this market, your excuses mean jack shit because you decided to enter the playing field with us. And here, everybody's equal. The market is the same for you, me, Varun, fucking Adani, for all of them. Yeah, it is rigged because they rigged it, but they did it because they could figure out how to do it. If you can figure it out, you can rig it too. So you can complain or you can figure out how to rig the system. But here's the thing. Once you're in the system, you can't sit and be like, oh, he has this and I have that. If you're somebody who's going to look at somebody who has money and be like, bro, but he has money, stop. If you're somebody who looks at other people like, bro, he has network or contacts or whatever, stop. Once you enter this game, you have no right to complain because you chose to compete with us. And if you choose to compete with us, you have to stop fucking complaining and figure out how to play the game with us. And that's the fucking reality. And here, we are all the fucking same, bro. Me, the people fucking sitting and listening to this, and Tata sitting somewhere and not giving a fuck about us. All the fucking same. Right? Do you have the balls to fuck with us? Right? Have the patience to start small. Bro, we all have to start somewhere. The rich kid is able to do it faster probably because his father slugged it out. If you slug it out, your kids will make it easier. You should be able to not want to do things. Like, I've heard so many times where I'll be like, bro, I'm waiting for that paycheck. Once I have X amount of money, I will do it. Or when I have this, I will do it. Or when I have that, I will do it. You'll never do it. If you're waiting for something to happen before you start, you will never start. I'll write it down. I'll give it to you. If something that you are building is genuinely going to affect people and you are the person who's going to execute it, you will not be sitting around waiting for things to happen in your life or for that check or for that money so that you can do it. You will figure out a way to fucking do it. And even if it means out of like a fucking small room with no bed, with no idea how to pay rent, with no food. If you're not ready to start or start small, then don't fucking get into this. Right? Are willing to change strategies quickly. What does this mean? Bro, in startups, we have a concept called pivoting. Pivoting basically means the ability to recognize that what you're probably doing may be right but is not the best course of time, and then to quickly change the course of action. Are you someone who's stubborn, who's like, nahi, ye kar diya to kar diya, bas yahi karna hai and all of that shit? Or are you someone who understands that this game requires you to be fucking flexible and agile and be able to navigate 10 different things at the same time? And probably sometimes, like, the best example I'll tell you is, you guys are from the Varun Maya community and all of those things. So the best example I can give you is Varun, right? You saw him pivot very quickly on public platform. The product that he had built, Scenes, was a direct to consumer product. And even though it was doing well, he recognized that post-pandemic, he will not have the same retention and this is not a viable product. So, and then he pivoted to business instead of business to consumer. So B2B and B2C, we will get into B2. If you guys don't know what B2B, B2C is, hit up the question, I will answer it. B2B is basically when a business sells to another business. B2C is when a business sells to consumers or customers. D2C is when a business directly sends to consumers. So it varies. It depends on where you are and what you're doing, right? But non-meta, he did Scenes. Do you remember Scenes? So Scenes was originally for consumers like me and you, but then later realized that it's not going to have the same traction. So like in front of everybody, he just said, we are not doing consumers anymore. We are going to start selling to businesses. Everybody thought he was going mad because the consumers were at a high. It was growing. The retention was amazing. All of that happened, and this guy out of nowhere decides that no, this is not the direction our company needs to go, and he directly fucking moved towards businesses. See, now he sells to businesses. Now here's what interestingly happened. At that time, a lot of these voice apps where people would talk on these voice apps, I don't remember, during the pandemic, they were very famous. They had a lot of retention, a lot of crowds. But right after the pandemic, people stopped using it. But these companies still believed, they were delusional that no, people will still use it, this, that, falana. But they failed. But Varun Maya didn't give a fuck. Varun Maya didn't wait for them to fail. He pivoted before they could do that. Right? So that's called pivoting. Right? Be able to change strategies quickly. Know how to close a deal. Yeah, Clubhouse. Yeah, like Clubhouse. Fucking... what the fuck happened to Clubhouse? Know how to close a deal. Bro, if you do not have the ability to convince people to buy something from you or sell something to them, don't get into it. This entire game of entrepreneurship is a one big long game of convincing people to do shit that you need them to do. If you're not able to do that, don't get into this. Right? So yeah, we're gonna go more in details later. Tomorrow we're going to talk about vision, mission, falana, and we'll get into the startups itself, right? Today, first, we needed to understand whether we wanted to do a startup. We wanted to build a startup. If so, what kind of startup? Tomorrow will be about ideation and we'll walk through ideation. But before we leave, does anyone have any questions? I'm going to take questions and then I'm going to bounce. Also, if this helped you, let me know. Also like kar, share kar, comment kar, because it helps. Why not? भाई के लिए इतना कर सकता है तू गांडू, right? Till the fucking chat decides to come, I will then sing for you. Wait, which song was that? I'm fucking obsessed with that TikTok song. It's called Tum Tum. You know the song? I love that fucking song. I can't play music because then I will get copyrighted. How to reach from 10 to 10,000 in terms of level? What do you mean 10 to 10,000? That doesn't make sense. You mean like skill level? Okay, let me give you an example. This might help. Oh my god, I was like, good question. Not really a good question, but badly phrased question. Bro, Sneh, you have to figure out better ways to answer questions. Ask questions. But we did it with okay. Let me do this. This is fun. Chota kar, darling, chota ho jao. Okay, chota ho jao. Oh my god, my whiteboard. I'm very excited about my fucking whiteboard. Okay, let me tell you about, this is my theory, okay, how to go from there are, I believe, skill. Oh shit. Okay. Fuck. Okay, I'm getting used to it, boys. I will learn. Okay. Skill, no, has 3 levels. Let's call it basic. Let's then call it mediocre. And the last level is called काफी sexy. Okay, तो बेसिक लेवल क्या है मालूम है? बचपन में ना तुम लोग कुछ think of it like skill points in a game that you have. Okay, बचपन में तुमको वो skill point रहता है कि you have attributes. Like you have fire attribute and light attribute and shit like that. You are born with like say 10 attributes. These 10 attributes can be you have basic understanding of design, you can draw, or you can talk, or you can run really fast, you have a good body, falana. You're born, baby, good DNA. These are DNAs, right? Now what happens? Life happens. So life happens. Now in life, so life happens, okay, and in life, because of certain things, situations, you go from, out of the 10 skills, you basically become really good at 3 skills. For example, I could speak from the moment I'm born, But because of my situations where my parents moved me so much, I learned how to speak better so that I can communicate with people faster, and I was forced. Now, because of my situation, I became a better orator, better speaker, and I understood people better. Okay, life happened. At mediocre level, then you reach a point where, like, for example, a person who speaks well now can become a good salesman. Now, what does a good salesman do? A good salesman, you give him something, he can sell. He can basically go and Saad, sell me a Red Bull. I'll get on a call and I'll sell you a fucking Red Bull. Now, the difference between a mediocre and a kafi sexy, and you want to be kafi sexy, right? The difference between mediocre and kafi sexy is mediocre cannot tell you how he sold the Red Bull. He can just sell the Red Bull. A kafi sexy can tell you the how and the why he sold the Red Bull. Like, he can tell you when he picked up the call, what happened, what there is a reason why he said something. Everything that he said, there's a reason behind it. It went from subconscious to conscious. So going from doing something subconsciously to consciously. For example, when you're designing, if you have a very good design mindset, you can build a nice presentation, but you will never be able to tell me why you put that circle. Your reasoning for putting a circle would be because it looked pretty, right? That means you're still at mediocre. You do not understand the depth of what you're doing, and the day you want to reach that level, that is kafi sexy, that is, you can call it level 10,000, you have to understand the basics and you have to understand the whys behind the operations of what you do in terms of your skill. Samajh rahe ho? And same thing goes with business. You start with basic, then at mediocre level you तुक्के से तुम कहीं पहुंच जाते हो, and then you're not able to tell you the actual reason why your product sells, or falana, and then you build processes, you learn and you educate yourself, and then you get good at building a business, and then you become kafi sexy business, right? Does every startup idea need to be disruptive? No, it doesn't have to be disruptive. Most startup ideas today are not disruptive. It depends on you. But if you're not disruptive, your ability to raise funds, your distinction between other companies become really hard, right? Like, tomorrow you want to build something that scales, you want to be able to bring in capital, and you want to be able to do well. And in order for you to do that, you need to have something called as a USP. A USP is a unique selling proposition. Something about your company that other companies don't have, or something you do better than other companies. That is a disruptive component of your company. So it really depends. Either you're trying to build a lifestyle company. A lifestyle company is basically like a lot of these traditional companies, or say traditional businesses like a cafe or a restaurant or something that a family owns, that a family runs, and it helps run 2-3 families, but it's not really scalable. It is something that just solves that. If you're not disruptive, you don't have a USP, you can't scale it. If it's not scalable, you're basically doing something different. And there's nothing wrong with the lifestyle business. So there's a lot of lifestyle businesses today. India's almost 80% of businesses that are operating are lifestyle businesses, and that's all right, but it's a very different world you're trying to get into. Kya fook mara Saad bhai? I'm here to just play games because essentially only thing we need is food, clothing, shelter. According to your experience, what do you think about this mentality? It's a fuck all mentality, bro. And I'll tell you why. अगर तुमको ये बोलने की चीज़ें होती है ब्रो, मेरे को ज़्यादा नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को ये नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को वो नहीं चाहिए. I don't need a lot of things, but I should want it. I should want it for my people and should want it for people around me. There is nothing. We have villainized money throughout our life. If we have put money in a position where, bro, you've spent so much time saying that you don't want money. I promise you, you will never make money. It's as simple as that. Your words are very powerful. You doing this shit just makes it harder for you to make shit for yourself. And there is nothing wrong with money. I think you should aspire to have. You reject it after you have it. Nah? You say the same statement after you have a fuck ton of money, then I will agree with you. I don't need this. I bear food, clothing. ठीक है, no problem. But make a lot of money after that, reject it. Then I'm okay with it. Because I've made enough to, and then rejected it, and then I do it because some things I just enjoy, and it's okay to enjoy those things, right? But don't villainize or shit on something till you have excelled in that space for yourself, right? Currently, I have built my EQ to solve problems that people have by Sam Dam Dhandbhed. Oh, Sam Dam Dhandbhed. Okay, whatever required. What else do you think I should be working on? Bro, Yogesh, I've seen your thing. I think you're very clean, but I think there's a lot of you're too smart for your own good. I think you need to have a sit down with yourself and kind of explain to yourself, ki bro, I let me ask you something. Ask yourself where you truly are in life, because you project big. I don't know who you are personally, right? But what I've seen is you're somebody who's reliable. I think you're very smart, and I love that. But the question is, are you what you believe yourself to be? Or are you in your head too much? Right? If you're in your head too much, you need to get out of your head. Go back. Go back. USP can be as small as making products easy. It can make it disruptive. Yeah, design USP is design USP. Like a small change in the design. Like one thing that is different makes your USP stronger. What do you prefer, service or product businesses, and why? Bro, we are really getting into this. We are crossing 1 hour. I did not want to do more than 30 minutes, but we're going to have last one more question, but okay. What do you prefer, service or product businesses, and why? Bro, I haven't done a lot of service businesses. Actually, right now I'm doing both service and product business. Both are difficult. I honestly like businesses that are solving a real problem and are tangible. Um, I'm not sure yet. I like shit that can keep me on my foot. uh, I do not know. So I there's a better classification. Do you like B2B or B2C? I never worked B2C because I never understood consumer products. I'm more business to business products which work much better and have a lot of capital in it. There's pros and cons and everything. I like B2B better, and B2B may I am good at building deploying products, but service has a lot of things. I think service, actually I do more product service where my products are providing a certain service, right? What are your fuck the last question? Okay. What are your major failures in your business and what did you learn from them? Bro, ये तो heavy question हो गया bro. Okay, before I answer this question, like karo, share karo, subscribe karo. I be not just the fucking go like the fucking video, man. Uh, uh, what are your major failures, bro? I have to go into a lot of that. Can you remind me the same question tomorrow, because I'll give you one failure that I can tell you. I'd say I didn't study enough. I'm not when I say study, I'm not talking about business. I'm saying study. I'm talking about there's a lot of shit that I could have learned through books that I never did and I should have. But my major failure, bro, I'll tell you everything that went wrong. I'm glad it did because it helped me learn a lot. Because I failed, you will initially always fail, right? But those things allowed you to learn so much, right? Like for example, uh, the people, right? I would hire I but again, bro, I don't call it a failure. I trust people very easily, so I hire people who are my friends. I think a lot of the people that work with me, a lot of my founders are people I know very closely. Sometimes that can be a very bad decision. Let me really think about this. Fuck. There's a lot of things I've failed miserably a lot of times. Okay, let me tell you something that I really failed at. Building something because everybody else, because you made a decision and now you are bound by it, not because you actually want to build it. There are certain projects that I did because I started it and then I was like, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew this is not sustainable. I knew I will not work it, but I just couldn't say no. And sometimes I was scared of missing out. So I would continue to drag something that did not need to be dragged. I think not being real with myself in terms of some of the processes, some of the businesses that I've done, I think was probably the biggest failure. And what I've learned now is to be very transparent and clear with the people that I work and the projects that I take and why I take them. And if I have to drop them, I drop them. I don't do formalities anymore in terms of the companies that I work with. The biggest failure that I learned from was that, like, learning how to be very clear and articulate and not doing things because you have to or you think you have to versus doing things because you truly believe in them. A lot of times I'd lied to myself about the project that I'd done. Okay. When is your next video with Bhageshri? Array, bro. I don't know. Let me see. That's why you choose to stay out after the basic idea. Not really, bro. I stay. Okay, so Ravone or Sneh is talking because there's a way I've worked is I give very little input. That's also because I'm trying to figure out whether you will be able to kind of figure that shit out on yourself. I used to do a lot of micromanagement that didn't really work for a company. It actually crippled the company versus helping the company. So now I have learned to allow people to make mistakes at the more initial level instead of kind of doing it myself, which ends up then me kind of becoming the reason for them to not do the work and kind of taking it on my own. I will do that for some time and then I end up like resenting them. So I would rather see if you are capable of pulling some shit off. If not, I will just find somebody else to do it. That's why. This is the last question. I will come back. Hopefully today is what? Today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What is it? Today is Thursday. Okay, we can do a live stream tomorrow also. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. No, 10 to 11. 10 to 11 we will do ideation and we'll talk about how to build an idea and how to build something that is tangible, how to go through the process of building an idea and what you should be doing. And we will go through the steps of ideation and then day after tomorrow. So I have a full thing scheduled. So tomorrow will be about ideation and this entire journey for people who just joined in will be from ideation all the way for you to raise funds. That also includes building decks, doing the registrations, doing all of those things. I will help you guys navigate that shit. I will give you templates and I will basically learn with you guys, right? So yeah, if you like this, please comment, not on the fucking chat, come inside, go back to this video and comment. I would really love that. I would really appreciate that.